Stalker, giant stalker, dragon stalker, crypt stalker, demon stalker, rift stalker, Grom stalker, crypt stalker, scourge stalker, wind runner. I'm a pony, lead skill hunter, a death dealer, a life stealer. That's just the cost of being awesome sauce.
And welcome to episode 251 of the Hunting Party Podcast. I'm Darkbrew from thebrewhall.com and the Brew Hall on Twitter.
I'm Delirium from Thrill of the Wild and at Delirium Hunts on the Twitters.
I'm Bendak from Eyes of the Beast, Blizzard Watch, and Bendak Wow on Twitter.
And I'm RogerBrown from methodwow.com and at methodroger on Twitter.
Today is Sunday, December 18th, 2016, and we are broadcasting live on twitch.tv. You can participate in the live chat room where our lovely moderator, Ali Sonder, is there to take your questions. I think we got a pretty good show for today because somehow between, BlizzCon and the time that patch 715 was released to the PTR, we haven't really had a chance to talk about any of the changes. So that gives us a pretty decent amount of stuff to talk about and cover today, which is good. Last week, of course, if you tuned in or hadn't had a chance to listen, we had Dillypoo on to talk about PvP and survival. So it was a pretty good show. A lot of fun talking to him. So you should definitely check that out if you haven't. And we've got a full house today, too, for at least for the time being, as long as my internet stays stable. And, of course, I just jinxed it by even talking about it. But we got everybody here today, which is awesome. So I guess first off, we can talk about Nighthold, the new raid. I think they announced, Blizzard did, that was going to be released and opened up on January 17th, which isn't, well, about a month away, but really with the holidays and everything, not too far off. So that's pretty good, right? I think we're all excited, ready to try something new and different here.
Yeah, raid time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the timing is pretty nice because it's new year, new raid, and yeah, I think that's what most people expected at the end of January, around there. So yeah, good stuff.
And I don't know if they've confirmed. They did say, I did read somewhere that the raid was actually separate from the patch itself. So I don't know if the patch is going to also be released then, or if it's possible they might release it earlier. I know they don't, and it's got a lot of class changes, a lot of tuning changes. So I would think that they'd want to get that out ahead of the raid rather than once the raid starts and then all of a sudden have all these changes go into effect, which can, have an impact on things as you guys are starting to progress through that.
Yeah, I think because they're doing so many changes, they might want to release it earlier so they can check some logs, a lot of logs, I don't know how they collect their data, but get some feedback basically on how these changes feel to the general public and maybe do a few adjustments before they actually release the new raid to avoid any big backlash from that.
Well, what
so
they need
I'm guessing it will be a week or two before that, but I'm not sure. What is it? Is it the 17th? Yeah. So I don't know if they're gonna release it on the 3rd of January because maybe a lot of people are still, celebrating New Year's and stuff. Maybe I don't know how strict Blizzard is with their employees' vacations and all that. But I think the 10th is a more, that's the day I expect for the patch to be released.
Yeah, I think they'll release it a couple weeks early so that they can release it with a really buffed up BM and we can all get switched and, spend a lot of time working on our artifact weapons until they, change everything the night before Mythics come out.
Sounds like something they would do. Yep.
Well,
That's the plan.
Well, speaking of which, I mean, let's talk about that. I've seen some of the notes, since through the PTR process, and it does look like BM is getting some buffs. I mean, are they significant enough that's how's Beast Mastery looking moving forward?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of buffs to talents that not a lot of people were using, but aside from one of the buffs, I don't think it's really going to change much in what you use. Like we can go through them really quick. Multi-shot damage was buffed from 66 to 100% damage. That's not much, really. Aspect of the Beast was the bleed damage was doubled. Again, it's not enough to compete with the other ones. Big Game Hunter got a little buff, 50 to 60% increased crit chance, so it's a little better. What else? Chimera shot got buffed, but again, it wasn't nearly enough to compete with Stomp. It went from 180 to 288% damage, but in order for it to compete with Stomp, they would pretty much have to triple that damage. Let's see what else. Dire Frenzy, the cooldown was reduced from 15 to 12 seconds, so it's the same cooldown as Dire Beast. Again, it's
It
not
really
enough.
should have been all the time. There's no reason for it not to be like that from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. And it's just, numerically, it's just still not enough. Let's see, Blink Strikes. Okay, this is the good buff. The basic attack damage was increased from 50 to 100%. So Blink Strikes is now competitive even in single target compared to Bestial Fury, and it's like a clear winner for AoE damage for like Mythic Plus. So I think that one will be getting a lot of use, at least for me. Let's see, one with the pack, the percent chance to give you another proc was doubled from 15 to 30, but I hate that talent. It's just too RNG. Wave the Cobra, another little buff, so it can compete more with Dire Stable. And in the most recent build, they gave a 4% buff to Kill Command, Cobra Shot, and Chimera Shot. So pretty much buffs all around. Just not necessarily all of them are going to translate into much.
Uh-oh, something happened, I think. Did we lose someone?
I'm still here. I think, Delirium, you're still there?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Am I still here?
Yeah, no, that was,
You're still there. Yeah, no, yeah. So,
ignore that. That was me
okay.
accidentally hitting escape on the okay.
Oof.
Skype window.
Because I saw, the windows going a bit weird. But yeah, I think they are buffing a lot of the unused talents for BM, and they realize that BM is doing kind of low DPS. I think the biggest change, though, is not what they're doing to BM. Okay, they're buffing it a bit and buffing the useless talents. But I think the biggest change is what happens to MM. Because MM will become more difficult to play, more, let's say, clunky, and a bit less. You won't have as much movement, the freedom of just flying away and not really losing much DPS. You're actually gonna feel it a lot more with MM now. You're even like, you're basically a sentry that is bolted to the ground, and you just shoot. Yeah. So any fight that will require massive amount of movement, that's what's gonna push BM ahead. You know what I mean? Whereas now, MM is not that restricted in terms of movement, and I think that's the bigger thing that is gonna make some people switch to BM from MM in the next patch, if the changes go through.
I mean, I'm assuming you've seen some of these fights already and tested them in Nighthold. I mean, it's rare that we have encounters where you can just really stand in one spot for any length of time. And most of these fights involve you moving in some fashion. I mean, what's your sense on what you've seen so far?
There are definitely some fights where you don't have to move as much, or the movement is kind of don't want to say irrelevant, but it's easy to do, like with a disengage, or you can, predict it easily. But there are some other fights like what's it called? Oh, for example, a fight like Spellblade Oriel. I don't know what's his name. That guy has a bit more predicted movements because you kind of expect what's going to happen every time. Whereas something like the Botanist, where you have this ability that has like some explosions coming into the middle slowly, and like more explosions coming to the middle, and you have to like dodge them and move out of there. That's like, there's no way you can handle that with MM and do max DPS, because it's like you don't know if it's gonna go on you, on someone next to you. It's way more on the spot movement, and you just gotta react. So yeah, I think as I've said in the past, that in Nighthold, you're probably not going to play only one spec. Like MM, I think will really struggle a lot in some fights, and you're just going to be like, okay, I'll just go BM because, yeah, MM has more problems than just the movement. It doesn't come close to the effectiveness of the spread out AoE cleave that we have currently on live. So you have basically two options. Either you just nuke one target and never swap from it, forget switching to a small ad to kill it off. No. You just nuke the boss basically. Or what you can do is massive amounts of AoE if you pop True Shot and just pump out multi-shot, mark shot, multi-shot, mark shot, multi-shot, mark shot. That's basically the only thing. And you can do decent AoE like that. But anything else, I think, I don't know. Maybe I haven't seen something that is out there, but a lot of fights are not like that. A lot of fights you have to move and kill this ad and then go back on the boss, and it's just gonna feel awful. So yeah, that's why again I think BM will be way more represented in Nighthold, because MM basically is getting nerfed in terms of that.
All right, well, let's talk about some of those specific changes. I mean, right now, today in live, I mean, a lot of people who play marksmanship, I mean, they pretty much are taking the patient sniper talent along with sidewinders, and that's really the it's cookie cutter. It's really sort of what pretty much everybody playing marksmanship is doing. So what's changing there, and how is this going to impact the talent choices and sort of even the rotation as we move forward? Delirium?
Say,
oh, I don't know.
yeah.
How about you, Delirium? What are you noticing on these changes here? And what are your thoughts? I'll put you on the spot.
I think he just hung out.
And we lost Delirium. All right.
Oh, there he is.
Delirium?
Are you back, Delirium?
Am I on?
There you
Sorry.
are.
Yes, you're on. I would just I tossed a question your way, and naturally you dropped off. So
Sorry, what's up?
So what did you last hear? Roger was talking about marksmanship, and so I was going to say we should get into the discussion about specific changes to marksmanship. How today we're using patient sniper and sidewinders. So what's changing in 7.15?
Oh,
That's going to impact what we do and how we do it.
Kind of what we've talked about before is the big changes, or I think the idea they're going for is making the kind of patient sniper build, which I assume everybody was taking. I don't know if anybody was not taking patient sniper in the entire world, but they're making that more of the baseline mechanic for marksmanship. And so that's how everything works now. So maybe you don't have to take patient sniper. There's a new version of patient sniper out on the PTR right now. I don't know if that's the final version or if it's going to stick or not, but so that's the big change that comes. I think there's 2 stacks total possible. I don't have my notes here. But yeah, I mean, that's the whole idea, is now everything is made like patient sniper. Sidewinders is supposed to be for wide area cleave, but doesn't exactly give you the huge marked shot damage that you were getting, which was the benefit of sidewinders, is you hit it, it targets everything, and then you can do this marked shots everywhere. And so that kind of pretty easy mass AoE spamming is pretty much gone from the marksmanship toolkit.
Yeah, basically right now, you can go with sidewinders again, and you can do the mark shots like you're doing on live, but basically mark shot is going to do 30% less damage or so. So it doesn't feel as overpowered or, as amazing. Let's not say overpowered, because I don't think we're overpowered, but yeah. It doesn't feel as amazing as it does on live. So you won't be destroying other classes in terms of that. There will be other classes that can do similar damage, assuming, okay, the odds are not all completely spread out. But the problem if you get sidewinders is on your single target rotation, because if you want to do max single target damage, you actually want to go with trick shot now, which is just the passive where you do more aim shot damage. And basically the idea is you want to still get patient sniper, which now instead of giving you more percent, well, I guess it kind of does give you more percent on vulnerable again, but it ramps up every second. So it's a 6-second debuff. At the start, it gives you 100% damage bonus. The next second, so when it has 5 seconds left in the duration, it gives you 115% extra damage, and then 130, and 45, and 60. So the more you wait with your aimed shots, the closer you're doing it to the end of the debuff, the more damage it will do. And that's basically the whole new thing, because it is very stressful to keep an eye on that if you want to do good damage. Because you don't want to just spam 2 aim shots right after you get the vulnerable up. You want to use one, then maybe throw an arcane shot in, and then do another aim shot. And the biggest annoying factor about this is if you miss it by 0.1 second, if you want to squeeze it in at the very end, instead of doing basically 275% damage of the aim shot, is going to do 100%, because you did it 0.1 second after the debuff fell off. Now you're going to do 1/3 of the damage on your aim shot, and that's just so bad. I don't know, I hate that mechanic so much. I get why it's interesting, but it's just so stressful to keep an eye on that, and it's gonna. I'm pretty sure it's gonna make a lot of people dislike the spec and not try for it. And
they put that mechanic on trinkets a lot, where it's kind of stacking every second or getting slightly less every second. And it's not so bad when you're doing it for 10 seconds once a minute or every minute and a half. You know, it doesn't feel like too much to pay attention to. But when it's the main part of it's your core rotation, then it seems like it's quite a hassle for not really worth dealing with or thinking about.
If the increase was smaller, then it wouldn't be such an issue, but it actually increases so much, so you feel so bad when you miss it, and you just have to pay so much attention to it. And the biggest problem is that the other 2 talents in the row are Explosive Shot and the Sentinel Owl. What is that? I don't know. Which they're both really bad, honestly. You don't want to pick those, because the only thing you're really good at is single target. So, yeah. Oh, exactly. As they point out in the chat, latency is a big factor as well. You might, if your internet is a little bit slower at that moment, you might just do way less damage, and it just feels so bad.
So,
anyways,
do you know if it procs if the buff is local to your computer or on the server? Does it calculate it when you actually. Does it calculate it at the end of the flight or beginning, or because that sounds like
it does calculate when it hits.
Okay,
it does calculate when it hits. Wait, are we talking about the debuff or when you finish your aim shot?
I guess you said missing it by even 0.1 seconds.
Right. So the aim shot, it's when it lands, as far as I know, but the thing is that aim shot is one of the fastest moving projectiles in the game. So basically, as long as you get it out, I think, unless the target is, some huge ass boss with a huge hitbox and it just travels forever, which it's not really the case, then you should be able to get it as long as the debuff was up in your screen when you throw it out. But still, the problem is, trying to get it in that last second of the debuff, because you want to do it properly, right? You don't want to just say, I'll just use it earlier and lose 15% damage on every single aim shot that I'm going to cast. It's just, you feel like you're doing it wrong. But yeah, the biggest problem with Sidewinders, what I want to say is, Sidewinders, they reverted the change so that it gives vulnerable now, right? Because at some point they had removed that effect of it.
Right.
But now they put it back on. The problem is, if you throw your Sidewinders, and then you want a mark shot, of course, right? because Marksman is pretty decent damage still. You cannot do it back to back basically because you want to take advantage of the first vulnerable. You don't want to overlap them because you lose the very end of it, where it's the most powerful. So you just feel so bad to play like that. I don't know. I'm very disappointed in how they've made the spec. Bottom line, let's just talk about BM, which is something I'm starting to play more. Honestly, it's yeah.
Yeah, I was excited when they first started talking about some of the changes they wanted to make. I thought they were maybe moving in the right direction, but the way it's ended up, it's kind of this half measure. It's not a full fix for the spec, which nobody's arguing that the spec isn't pretty broken. I mean, it's not a great fun spec or anything as it is right now, but instead of fully fixing it and revamping it, they did these kind of half measures that have made it worse than it was. So yeah, I don't know. It's very bizarre to play on. I've just been spending a lot of time in Shatrath on the PTR, and it's a weird spec.
So other than, I guess, trying to add some more variety in the choices, I mean, what was the problem do you think they were trying to solve with these changes for Marksman? Was it more than just, well, everybody's taking Patient Sniper and Sidewinders? I mean, or was there a bigger issue there that they felt like they needed to try and solve?
I think the kind of bigger problem was that it was the answer to every single fight, you know? Because Sidewinders, I think in their mind, was a talent you're gonna pick when you have that spread out cleave fight. So you hit everything, and then you mark shot everything, and you feel like you're just destroying them, you know? And then you do like a huge, I don't know, like burst AoE cleave like that. And then if you don't have that, you want to go arcane shot, you know, or go one of the other two talents, like what is it, focusing shot, or which by the way is hilarious now that it it actually works with vulnerable. They made it work with vulnerable, and you can actually crit for like 6-7 million with it. It's pretty broken. Or take the other talent, the passive, the trick shot. And then you would pick one of those for your single target, or like two cleave target or something like that. And it didn't work out at all. They had this whole plan that I think they focused more on arcane shot, because if you remember, Sidewinders was added in the beta as a talent quite after a lot of time had passed. At the start it was not a thing, and then they added it because they thought this spec doesn't work without something for AoE that is a bit more spread out. So, and then it just took over their whole philosophy of the spec, and then now they're like, oh, let's put it back to what we wanted the spec to feel like. I think most of this stuff could be resolved if they just remove that Patient Sniper talent completely, give us back our 30 extra focus, so we're back at 150, because they removed that part as well, you know? So it's really bad. You only get 120 focus even with that talent now. And yeah, kind of used to 150. And just give us some other talents there that make it less clunky or something, or make it vulnerable not be such a huge part of our rotation. Make it just increase the damage of our aim shots by 30%, not 160%, because then it feels like, oh, am I aim shotting without vulnerable? I'm basically doing nothing. That's I think the biggest problem with the spec. You feel like you're doing nothing unless you are working with a vulnerable debuff, and that's going to cause issues if you try to play with that.
So back to Beast Mastery then. So I mean, are you planning to just sort of dabble in it now, Roger? Or are you really planning to make that be your main spec as you move forward?
I think it very likely might be the spec for most of the fights, apart from the fights where it's pure single target, as in fights like, I don't know, like Crossos, for example, where, okay, there are some ads that you can kill, but you're not going to really do much on them as BM anyways. So you want to just nuke the boss, okay, go MM and just nuke the boss, you know, kind of like butcher fights. I think BM, the way they're making it, it's easy to play. You can move freely. It has all those advantages. The only thing that I find kind of annoying is that I just love the new legendary that they're giving to BM, the 2 charges on Dire Beast. It makes the spec so much more fluid. You can actually line up your cooldowns way better with it, which means that if you don't get it, like if I don't get it, it will feel so bad playing BM.
You know what? I've been complaining about this Darby's charge thing for like a year. Like that's one of the first things of feedback I gave in early beta was Darby's needs a charge because every time you get a proc, it just happens. It happens when you don't get to take advantage of it. And yeah, like I tried the new legendary on the PTR, and it makes the rotation so much smoother, I guess. I don't know. It's just, and you can make more decisions too. Like maybe you want to hold on to that extra charge for your Titan's Thunder or something like that. You know, it's just it's not even like it's a huge, massive damage increase. It's just like a quality of life thing. It's just, I don't know. I just don't like seeing that on a legendary. And someone asked that question in the Q&A, and Ian was basically like, well, you know, too bad. I mean, maybe in the future we'll get that.
Yeah, it feels like one of those things where they're like, this would be cool, but we can just go and change it now, I guess. Let's just try to see how it feels like if we put it on a legendary and get some feedback, and then maybe make it baseline. You know, like they've done with some other stuff from set bonuses in the past where people really like it. Oh, all right, let's just make that as a basic thing for the next expansion. But yeah, right now on the beta, it feels so good to play with that legendary plus the belt, which, by the way, the belt is not getting nerfed. I was so shocked by that. I don't know if we're gonna go into the legendary nerfs later, but yeah.
I was shocked, but at the same time I wasn't, because if you nerf it too much more than 20%, it gets to a point where you might not even get an extra kill command out of it, because if you go to like 10% reduced focus, it's such a small amount of reduced focus that it might not make much of a difference.
Yeah, I was just shocked that they nerfed the other ones so much, basically. The BM ones. Like they're down to 5%. It's like almost nothing. And the bracers as well, which are mainly utility, they nerfed them as well. Like, I don't know.
I think the bracers was a result of them being super awesome for survival.
Yeah, probably.
Their main DPS cooldown was affected by it, so.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, the way I played BM, and I played it quite a bit in the beta now, on PTR, sorry. It's really nice because basically you have Bestial Wrath every 30 seconds or so with the shoulders. Because as we just said, you get full advantage of your resets. So you can pretty much have it every 30 seconds, especially if you have the 2-piece set bonus. So if you have Bestial Wrath every 30 seconds, that means that it lines up perfectly every 1 minute with your Titan's Thunder and your Murder of Crows, and every 2 minutes with your Aspect of the Wild, and any racial you might have if you're an orc, you know, with your thingy. What's it called? Damn it. Oh, the AP buff you have as an orc, you know, and stuff like that. Yeah. So it feels so much better, whereas on live right now, you can't really get that 30-second reset on Bestial Wrath. You probably are going to get it every 40, 45, you know, depending on your luck, of course, and everything. But not every 30 seconds. So yeah, it feels so much better, so much cleaner. You might have to wait a couple of seconds, but it feels like it's not annoying that you cannot line your stuff up. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd say I've been looking at a lot of the feedback, and the biggest complaints are Darby's charges being on legendary and pet movement still not being fixed, especially Hottie. He moves so much slower than the main pet. It's just like, when are you guys gonna fix this? Like your main pet will be attacking the boss, and then Hotie's like halfway across the room, just like RP walking to the boss. I don't understand why they can't make him run faster.
Yeah, they just need to make the blink strikes should just be the damage buff, and not the blink itself, and they should just make the blink passive on all the pets. That's like I don't know why they haven't done that yet.
I would even love for a blink to be an active, so you could every 20 seconds you can like instantly teleport your pet somewhere to switch targets, like on your command. Like remember the old version of Blink Strike in early MOP?
Yeah, when you could press it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I wish they'd also make Blink Strikes work with Hottie as well, because once again he's left behind.
Yeah. Just the little kid you have to drag around.
Yeah.
Come on, Hattie. You're still back there. But yeah, right now I think the biggest problem with Beast Mastery is that on a pure single target fight, it does not perform as good. You will be middle of the pack in the best case scenario, unless there is massive movements, which is going to cause ranged DPSers to fall behind because they cannot keep up with the movement, or melee. Some melee mechanics that cause melee to move away or the boss to move away or stuff like that. Like for example, Heimdall doing his Horn of Valor, for example, so melee have to walk out and back in. If you don't have these things, and even if you have them, to be honest, pure single target, Beast Mastery is not at a great position. You feel like you're doing damage, but then you look at the damage meter and you're like, okay, so I guess Demon Hunter, Rogue, and all those other classes can do better damage than me. Unlike, I don't know. It still has all the other advantages that we said, so I think it's balanced in that sense. And now, especially with the 4% buff that they gave it, we'll have to see because I haven't played after it. Pushed.
Beastmaster is really reliant on you, for one, getting at least one good legendary, and also having 3 good traits. And if you have those 2 things, your damage is much higher than someone who didn't have that would be. Like a lot higher, like 10% higher.
Oh yeah, and I checked, by the way, because right now in the raids, the Emerald Nightmare and the TOV raids, the relics pretty much suck for BM. There's only 2, I think, in Emerald Nightmare that are decent. One drops from Xavius, and one from Ursoc, I think.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and in TOV they're all garbage, honestly. Like
they're complete garbage, yeah.
Yeah, but in Nighthold, there is 4 of them that are kill command traits.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really, really good. It's like Blizzard is telling you go BM, basically. That's what I see. And some other quick, because I guess not sure if everyone is keeping up. It's a lot of information, but I've been thinking about this so much lately because, again, as I said, you have to kind of make a choice soon where you want to put all your AP to be prepared for Nighthold as best you can when you get artifact knowledge. One thing that you should keep in mind is that marksmanship right now in the PTR, you basically need true shot relics because outside of true shot, your damage is nothing compared to what it is during true shot. So that's why the true shot relics become so much better. And the more you have of them, the way that CDR works when it's just flat seconds cooldown, if you have one, it's good. If you have the second one, then the first one becomes better as well, in a sense, let's say. And then when you get the third, it's really, really good because you chop off more % of your true shot, basically, since it's already lower CD. But anyways, so that is a big problem in my eyes because, well, unless you can prepare already, go get your true shot relics, guys. Problem is there's not that many out there, and eye level is still a big factor. So if you are lucky enough to get some really high eye level and true shot relics, definitely hold on to them. And Second of all, you really need the 4-piece set bonus as MM. Whereas for BM, it's not that needed. Honestly, it's not that great.
Oh yeah, I have a little rant about that one. The BM
Well, yeah,
4-piece is
let's
so
talk about
bad.
those.
I don't understand why it exists. Like I don't know if Blizzard understands what it does, because how it is now, it's like less than 1% extra damage. And for
Yeah,
4-piece bonus, that seems ridiculous to me.
Yeah, and let's just review the bonus real quick, right? So the 4-piece Beast Mastery, it's when you use Bestial Wrath, all of your currently summoned Dire Beast gain, what, 20% increased damage for 10 seconds, supposing.
60%.
60%.
Right.
I'm looking at
it. Used to be 10 seconds, but then they realized, oof, that's too much. Let's drop it down to 8. Let's calm down.
Well, they probably realized it because Dire Beast only lasts for 8 seconds.
Yeah, true. True.
So, yeah,
I don't understand why it's only active. That's the biggest issue I have. Why not make it any Dire Beast you summon, so that you press it and then you do a big stomp, you know?
Yeah, it's the fact that it only applies to the currently summoned, which means best case scenario you get 1, maybe 2 Dire Beasts to take advantage, and it's only their melee attacks, which is not a big percentage of your damage. And this only happens every 40 seconds to 1 Dire Beast. It's, like I said, you run it through Simcraft and it's like 0.75% DPS increase to use that bonus. So I just hope, I've said that bugging so many times, I just hope they do something about it. Plus, if you take Dire Frenzy, it doesn't even work, the set bonus.
Nice.
So I mean, yeah. At least we don't have to worry about getting the 4-piece release soon, I guess. I don't know. Silver lining.
Yeah, exactly. That was my point. That BM, you don't really need anything. MM, you kind of want also the trinket. Because as I said, True Shot is everything. Once you have True Shot, you can actually relax and just spam those aim shots non-stop. Because you don't run out of focus at all, basically. And it feels pretty nice. You're just pumping that damage. But yeah, so there's this trinket that drops from the second to last boss, the Magistrix, that chance to reduce your cooldown. You know, it's generally speaking, because it works across all classes and specs, as far as I know. It's generally speaking the big cooldown that you have. So for MM, it's True Shot. You can chop off 5 seconds out of that every, it's just a random proc from your shots. And for BM, it's not as good because it works on Aspect of the Wild, which is considerably worse than True Shot. So yeah, that will be highly how do you say, sought after trinket. I don't know if I worded that properly, but yeah, you got my idea. Like, everyone is gonna want that. Retribution paladins will want that. You're gonna have to fight for that. And for MM, you kind of want that very, very much. You want that. You want the 3 relics. You want the 4-piece bonus. You really want the boots, the legendary boots as well. You just want everything to reduce that cooldown of your True Shot as much as possible. And for BM, all you need is kill command relics. That's it. And you even get 2 choices on them because they're both good. So way more flexible in terms of gearing, way more flexible in terms of encounters, easy to play. I don't know. I just see a winner here.
Did they nerf those boots? I think they did, right? The MM boots.
Oh yeah, they nerfed it, but not too much. It went from 1 second to 0.8 seconds. So it's just a 20% nerf.
Yeah.
I should have done a 50% nerf. But yeah, because it feels very weak nerf to me. They're still gonna be just MM boots by far. MM legendary, sorry.
Well, we've lost Darkbrew again.
Oh, rip.
He should be back soon.
What do you think, Delirium? Are you gonna drink the BM Kool-Aid?
Or are you believing in SV Master Race?
SV? Oh boy. Oh yeah. So, well, what did Dilly say about SV, or did he focus on PvP?
Yeah, just PvP. It's I mean, it's a different
okay.
game, so it's not really
Okay.
applicable too much.
Yeah, as far as I know, all survival legendaries are really bad as well, right? Or
Yeah,
am I mistaken?
just
Except for the
everything.
one they nerfed. The bracers were pretty good as far as I understand.
Right. I was thinking about it. Anyways, just to jump on the next topic since we're waiting on. Oh, is he
Are
here?
you good? What
No,
were you
go
thinking
ahead.
about?
Okay. About the legendaries, I was thinking about it. How much easier would it be, and they wouldn't have to nerf and do all of this stuff and hear everyone moan about, oh my god, I still don't have my 5th legendary and all that crap, you know, that they're getting about this system. If they just made all of them be kind of like utility wise, you know, for example, the bracers could be 50% off turtle and cheetah, and everyone would be happy with that, you know. Oh, I got that, nice. Or like the boots that I got on my DK that increase your movement speed by 75% of your haste. You know, stuff like that is what I think would be cool to have in legendaries. And if everything was like that, they could easily balance that. They wouldn't have to go above and beyond and like try to see, oh, what is overpowered here? People are whining that I don't have this and I need it. And yeah, I don't know. How do you even balance classes with these legendaries in the game? Whereas if you just had it's just, oh, cool, I got this. Okay, whenever I feign death, I get some heal. That's cool. Maybe I'll use that, you know? Or
Well,
I
there
wanna.
was this interview way back in, I don't know if it was alpha or really early beta for Legion, where they just said they were tired of making decisions based on being able to balance it, and they were just going to give up on balancing it. But it seems that's not what they've actually done. They claimed they were going to put in cool stuff whether it could be balanced or not, and then realized that people did not like not being balanced. I don't know how they didn't
Yeah.
see that coming, but
Yeah, I don't know. I think
here we are.
sometimes they don't understand that people wanna compete and be better than the guy next to them, you know? Like that's what you wanna you wanna see yourself up there on the damage meter, you wanna kill those bosses, and you wanna see how good you're doing compared to others. When you have these legendaries that are completely out of your hand, it's only gonna come out as a bad feeling. Because again, if I get my, which I did, if I get my best legendaries right now for my spec, I'm gonna feel nice, but it's more like a relief, you know? It's not
Right.
like, oh my god, look what I got, that's
Yep.
cool, that's so cool. It's like,
It's
oh,
totally a
thank
relief.
God,
Yeah.
thank
I, re-
God,
I
I'm not gonna be behind, you know?
I got
Yeah.
my 3rd legendary a couple days ago, and it was the BM boots. They're not the best, but at least
Right.
it's a DPS one, and I already had the belt, so now I'm like so relieved. Like I don't worry about legendaries at all anymore.
Right.
And that's, But then there's people I see in my guild, and they get like Pradas and Cephas, and then they'll get those, and they're like, well, at least my next one's gonna be a good one, and then they get like the legs.
Right. Exactly.
Oh.
Because now, for example, I have my red paladin, and I really like playing retribution, and I'm like, there's 3 good legendaries for retribution. Okay, this is not right now, but they're changing it in the next patch, and it will be pretty good. And I get these legendary bracers first. I'm like, okay, whatever, still legendary. And then I get this helm, which is like completely useless. Completely useless. Like, makes my stun be less of a cooldown if I stun a target that is above 75% HP, and it does 100k damage. Like, wow, who cares? But and then I see other people who have a 5th or 6th alt retribution paladin who they barely play, and he gets 2 best legendaries within the same day. Gets 2 of the best legendaries, and I'm just feeling like, oh my god, like, why? Why Blizzard? I want to play at the same level as the others, and now this character can basically out DPS me out of nowhere when I've put so much effort in this. I don't know. The problem is that I think to do any big changes, but they'll probably do that system.
Yeah, hopefully they've learned their lesson, but I doubt it.
Probably. Well. Oh. Keep hearing these sounds.
Yeah, hopefully we can get Darkbrew back in here.
Bendak, are you on?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh. I think there's some weird background noise coming from your mic.
All right.
Possibly a helicopter.
I think I'm back. I have no idea what you guys talked about for the last 10 minutes. I'm sure it was good.
Darkbrew.
I'll have to just,
Yep.
Tune in next time.
Yeah, I'll have to listen to this. I'll have to download and listen to this episode like everybody else. So there we go. I did catch a snippet of you were talking about what legendaries and balancing legendaries and issues with that.
Right. Yep.
So you probably wrapped that up. But yeah, just a point about that. Yeah, I don't know why they would think that that would be a problem, or that my players would have a problem with that. I mean, that's just how MMO players are wired, and they've been like that forever, ever since like MMOs have been around. If there's something that gives, even like the slightest advantage, even if it's, you can only, even if it's just like on paper, right? It's just something that you can calculate mathematically, but the impact in game is negligible. It doesn't matter. That's what people will try and do, and get their characters to be in that particular state. and legendaries are noticeable, right? They do have a noticeable effect. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, managed to make getting a legendary feel like a complete letdown, which it was never the case. I mean, sure, in the past, at the very start, you're like, oh my god, the bindings dropped. Oh my god, I'm gonna get my, what's it called, man? Damn it. That sword from a Molten Core. Thunder Fury. Yeah. And you're like, oh, it dropped. Oh, let's go.
Well,
and then it became at some point like, oh, you just gotta turn in 50 of those, just farm that, and everyone gets a cloak, woo, and then it was still like, oh, okay, I got a cloak, that's pretty cool. And now they managed to make it where when you get the wrong legendary, you're like, oh god, now I'm gonna have to wait for my bad luck protection to ramp up again and try again the lottery machine. And it's just, how do you make getting a legendary feel so bad at a game? I don't know. And another thing I want to quickly say is that I remember in the past, I think which is the biggest problem with legendaries, as you said, when you see, I remember when I was like really young as well, and I was playing the game, and I would be in Ironforge inspecting people, and I would be like, whoa, where did he get that weapon? And then I would look up and be like, oh, it's from Ankiraj. Oh, I wish I can go there one day and kill that boss and get that loot for myself.
Yeah.
But now you see someone, you're like, oh, look at this lucky piece of meat. He got both the good legendaries, and I can do nothing about it than just pray to RNGesus. That is the problem, I think, with this.
Yeah, and by the way, that's what people say when they inspect your gear, Roger, because I'm pretty sure you have the best of everything at this point. Just throw that out there.
I got a pretty nice snag, I'm not gonna lie. 895 with the socket, haste mastery. It's pretty good.
Now, your legendary
Roger hasn't slept in 3 months, so.
Yeah. Well, do you have any of the good BM legendaries, or are you just like MM legendaries?
No, I'm still trying to get my 4th legendary. I still only have 3, and
3.
Yeah, I've been BM loot spec for like the past month or so, and there's no legendary anywhere.
And what are you? You're up to 3 now, aren't you, Bendak?
Yeah, I just got my 3rd, so probably going to be months until I get my 4th, which I don't really care at this point. I've got 2 decent ones, so I'm relieved I can just stop worrying about them.
The guild has been noticing that there's a lot of legendaries dropping these days, though. I think they might have changed something.
Well, they said they removed the soft cap at 4. There was a soft
cap. They said that it's like a couple of weeks ago, but we didn't notice anything, and now suddenly a lot of people are getting legendaries.
I wonder if that's the bad luck. The bad luck protection was removed, but it still needed time to ramp up. It wasn't.
Maybe
it wasn't like it reset to 0 rather than reset to the amount that you were supposed to get.
It's just weird because as soon as the new reset happened on this last Wednesday, that's when we started noticing a lot of them. So I don't know, maybe the bad luck protection doesn't work purely as a point system, which is the speculation right now, that the more bosses you kill, the more chance you get. Maybe it has to do with weekly resets as well, in terms of how long has it been since your last legendary.
Well,
Maybe
I've had a theory for a couple of years now that every time Christmas comes around, that they really will up the percentages just a little bit on
That
like
could
rare
be
mount
it.
drops
That
and
could
things
be
like
what
that,
it
but only
is.
for the holiday, and then they junk back. Because around the holidays, all of a sudden, people do tend to start getting Ashes of Valar and stuff like that. It
That
just,
might be true. Yeah, just sneakily buff all the percentages by double. I mean, this is the Feast of Wintervale week. That's very
Yeah,
interesting.
when does that start?
It started already 2 days ago.
Oh, huh.
Santa
have I
has
been?
brought a lot of legendaries.
we're gonna bring out the tinfoil hats now.
Better not be naughty.
No, but you had a good point, Roger, about the RNG actually feeling bad right now, and I think that's something that they. I mean, we all know that this system came from Diablo, but in Diablo, like you're expected to actually get a full set of like legendaries at some point. Unless they do that here, it doesn't feel like it's right. Like the drop rate really is so rare that it actually feels bad to get the wrong one. And I think if they're ever able to fix legendaries, it would have to be in a way that it doesn't feel bad to get the wrong one, because you know that you're gonna get another one sooner rather than later.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't remember which dev it was, but I'm pretty sure it was Celestial One who was making comments when people first started complaining about this. Is that back in his day, people didn't care about personal DPS. It was all about the team getting the bosses down. And so he was basically just said, the way you have fun is wrong. And all of us looking at DPS meters shouldn't be looking at it. And I don't understand his way of thinking about it at all.
Yeah, wait, hold on. We're not min-maxers? Wait, since when?
No, I think he's right. It was like that up until the first damage meter add-on got released. Ever since that was released, I remember going in Zul group and seeing my DPS and comparing myself. Yeah, that's an interesting thing that Hello, this is Joel is pointing out as well. We, as hunters, okay, we have a lot of legendaries that are pretty good. Let's say like the boots for MM or the belt right now, which is going to be bad later on. Or the soldiers, I think, are going to be really good for BM. But there are some other classes that literally do so much less DPS without the legendary, like the Demon Hunter Ring, which has been extremely overpowered. It changes your rotation, making it simpler, and you just basically, as far as I know, I mean, I've never played it, but that's what I've been told, you just spam one button on the pool and you do 1 million DPS. I mean, just because of that legendary, whereas the others are just struggling and they just see you doing double their damage. I just think it's really, really, really bad design. I don't know. I'm just saying that if it's bad for us, I can't imagine how it feels for others.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad for everybody. It's bad for the whole game.
Yeah.
Though some seem to have gotten it much worse.
Celestalon dropping Darkbrew from the call right now.
Let's see, what else do we have to go over today?
Well, actually, on the thread of legendaries, are there any particular legendaries that you would switch specs for? Like if you happen to get that from actually, and that's a different question too. Is does your loot specialization affect what you get as a legendary?
Yes,
it's supposed to.
Okay, because I think I was BM when I got these stupid bursting shot bracers, which was really weird.
Yeah, sorry, trying to, yeah, the loot specialization is different with what you currently have spec, right? So if you're playing spec, but you have a different loot spec, at least that's what I'm doing right now, and I'm hoping that it works.
Yeah.
But the one thing I've been curious about, although some people, when I asked this, said, yeah, I got the other legendary, but you can never fully trust people, let's say that.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, I don't know if I
think
was set wrong or something.
yeah, what might happen if you're playing a different spec and you have a different loot spec, I have the fear that you might just get one of those that work for all the specs instead, you know?
Huh. Yeah.
Because maybe, I don't know, maybe you have a, maybe a bigger chance. I don't know, but until I see it or someone close to me that I trust says that it, and I'm really scared because right now I'm playing MM and I want the BM legendary. So,
Yeah, I mean, the truth is that we just don't know. Blizzard, and Blizzard might adjust numbers week to week and not tell us too. Like, we can't trust them to tell us that they changed something.
Exactly.
Frankly, they may not have changed something on purpose and, accidentally, oh, whoops, guys, we forgot to set the drop rate on this to anything above 0, or like the 4 legendary soft cap. They never told us about that.
Exactly. And they've done it in the past as well, and then they slowly give you some information, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, with a bonus coin, they said that there is some bad luck protection, but then people were like, wait, is the bad luck protection the specific boss? So if I coin the same boss again next week, it has a higher chance? Or is it just in general, if I haven't coined anything and I keep coining gold, will I get an item, because of the bad luck protection eventually, if I just keep coining, even though it's different bosses? But I think they just keep their systems secret as much as they can, just so that people cannot point to the flaws in that system with clear certainty. Because if you don't know how it works, how can you say that, oh, why are you doing it like this? Change it. I think they're covering their own asses by not.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, they only recently revealed that gold was hard coded in as the failure role instead of artifact power, because people kept saying, that they wanted artifact power as the failure role, right? And and they said they can't do it because gold is actually hard coded in as as the failure, which.
Oh, but actually they are doing that. Just so you know.
Oh, they are changing it? Oh, that's good.
I think so for the next patch, because I think when we killed some bosses in the PTR and I coined, I think I got artifact power.
What? That's good. Maybe they're
not sure though.
Yeah.
I think so.
That would feel much better than gold, because gold feels just bad. Speaking of, this patch will be called "Feels Bad, Man." World of Warcraft.
It will be for sure. I mean, yeah. World quests have stemmed that a little bit. Like it feels good to see something roll higher. But because of the range of how high it will roll, right? Like you can see it roll. I mean, I got an 885 ring like the first week that I was doing world quests, and that felt really good. Yeah, but there's just such a range that I think they needed to do more of that and less of the you either the binary, like you either get the legendary that you want or you fail. Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Do we have Darkbrew back now? Dark?
He was temporarily.
No. The role of Darkbrew would now be played by Synth Paradox, I believe.
Well, I was hoping he'd be here, and if we wanted to switch over to the outro, but
well,
it's attempting to
keeps lighting up.
Yeah.
We're losing him. No, stay with us.
You're really cute and all, but I don't understand what you're saying. No. All right. No, that's the. Sorry, that was a inside joke reference. Did we want to talk about anything else before we?
I guess
I think we did get that tweet from Jeremy Fiesel since our last show from Muffiness about pet abilities. Basically, what Bendak has been complaining about since alpha.
Oh yeah, he sent out a tweet asking people, you know, there's all kinds of pet families that don't have any abilities anymore, and what would people like to see? So I think you can put 2 and 2 together, and they're probably giving all the pets abilities. Maybe for 7.2, I don't know, but at least it's on the horizon.
Give us a portal, so we don't need warlocks.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Portal pet.
Yeah.
So this is the patch that they give us back everything they took away, or 7.2.
And it's new content. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we do it in Blizzard. Oh, you like this? No, I'm gonna take it away, and then when you really miss it a lot, I'm gonna give it back.
Yeah, new Coke and then classic Coke, right?
Exactly.
Oh, jeez. Well, as long as they eventually fix it. Well, okay. Here's the thing. I just hope that they listen to feedback. That's the problem that I think is coming up right now. Where remember that feedback thread that came out right before Legion launched for Warlocks and Hunters? Did they ever actually do anything with that? It doesn't feel like they did.
Every once in a while they respond and say they're still looking at it or still working on it.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, even if you don't like the changes that they did for MM, some of those changes were responsive, I think, to player feedback.
Okay, that's good.
Even if it wasn't what people wanted, but BM though, it's pretty much the spec has pretty much been stagnant since they introduced it. There hasn't been much responsive changes at all, really.
Yeah. It's clearly because Solar Flare is playing SV.
Yeah, I think what really would be nice for BM would be, I mean, I don't know, it just feels like, okay, you're pressing your buttons and you have these cooldowns, but they don't really feel that, like, your cooldown is basically just a damage increase, that's it, you know, like just a flat damage increase. Then you have the Titan's Thunder, it's just, you don't even notice it, you know, in your rotation or anything. Whereas take Rogues, for example, that I've been playing on Outlaw, their artifact ability makes you get full combo points every time instead of just, you know, 1 or 2. Like, you just feel that in your rotation. Here it's just like, oh, right, I have to press Titan's Thunder as well. I forgot. Okay, there you go. It's done. All right. You know, and then you just continue doing your normal thing. It's not like something drastically changed in your rotation. That's the thing what misses from BM. Some interaction with your cooldowns, or I don't know, something exciting happening in your rotation. They have these talents that kind of do that, but they just all suck. That's the problem, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I need something. I'm not even sure. Something like a lot of people say make Chimera Shot baseline, and while I wouldn't complain about that, I don't think it's really like a solution. It's just another
It's not gonna
cooldown.
do much. Yeah.
Yeah, you need something else. I don't know if it's something that stacks or something you build up, or I don't know.
Well, yeah, first of all, I think it would be nice if they just made it baseline the belt and the shoulders. Because I think in the past you had that, oh, I have Bestial Wrath, oh, now I can spam my abilities because they cost nothing. And, oh, I'm going to wait with my barrage and cast it there because it will cost 30 less focus now. You know, back in the good old days of BM. But now it's just like, oh, you need to get that legendary, and it's still like not even half of as good as it was. It doesn't even, you don't really feel it, but it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say what it really misses. I don't have like this crazy good idea, but it's just the same thing all the time. Compared to MM, where you pop shot and you're like, you feel like a god. Basically, you just spam everything, sidewinders, poof, poof, mark shots. Oh, at least for now. Oh, rip. 7.1.5.
Yeah, it's all about to change. I guess we'll have to go and warm up our BM specs here. At least I'm gonna have to start dumping some more AP.
See, I saw this coming from a mile away. I'm way ahead of you guys.
You are, I know. You're like the only one. You've been BM from the beginning. You know, you're ready to just carry on and go.
Delirium is even more ahead. He's already main survival. Let's go.
That's right. Just wait for 7.3, you guys.
That's a Tomb of Sargeras meta. Let's go.
There you go, survival. Then I haven't got my survival artifact. So, well, all right. Well, I think we had a pretty good show today. I'll have to tune in and listen to the last 20 minutes of it myself to see what we covered. But we'll figure out when we're coming back next. I know we'd normally be scheduled for the 1st of January, which is New Year's Day. I don't know. I know, Synth, I don't think you're available. So maybe we'll plan on coming back the 8th. Does that work for you guys? Or probably going to be right before the Nighthold reaches, so we can come back then and go over a few more things. But on that note, you have been listening to episode 251 of the Hunting Party Podcast. I'm Darkbrew from thebrewhall.com and the Brew Hall on Twitter.
I'm Delirium from thrillofthewild.com and at Delirium Hunts on Twitter.
And I'm Bendak from Ice the Beast, Blizzard Watch, and Bendak Wow on Twitter.
Well, and I am RogerBrown from methodwow.com and at methodroger on Twitter.
Check us out on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, or at our RSS feed to your reader, and these links are available in our show notes.
If you have a question or a topic you would like us to discuss on the show, email us at huntingpartypodcast@gmail.com or send us a tweet at huntingpartypod.
All right, stay thirsty, my friends, and remember to drink your dark brew lager.
Siempre presta la emoción de lo salvaje.
Keep your eyes on the beast.
And find the true beast for hunting.
Merry Wintervale.
Yeah.
Somebody had to say it.
Yeah.
Life stealer, that's just the cost of being awesome sauce. A dues payer, a boss slayer, I rock out with my lockout cause I can jump shot. BM, MM, and SB, I can rock out any tree. Never worried about my threat, cause I've got FD and misdirect. Catching loose mobs in my traps, I never miss, cause I am hit capped. Cause I'm the hunter, not the marked. I'm the fighter, not the spark. I'm the kiter, not the kite. I'll top meters every fight. Raiding and cave, dealing death. Just me, my gun, and my trusty bed. Now let's begin with Illidan, Osirian, and Gil'jadan, Magdamar, Asgalor, Gruul, Cthulhu, and Razorgore, Onyxia to Ragnaros. Which one have we killed the most? Kel'Thuzad to Malygos. We even killed a Kama's ghost. Feels like we're getting close, all that running as a ghost. Yogg-Saron, Thorian, Sartharian, Magtheridon, Saphiron, Luciton to Sulfuron, Archivon,